Blessed day, everyone, and welcome to Itswhenlightningstrikes. If this is your first time joining this circle, welcome. My name is Grace, and I will be your host. Today, we're going to be starting teaching 5 of the grandfathers, which is wisdom as taught by Beaver. So these will be the people that you need to be researching and learning about in order to understand all of the medicine that they share with us, which is going to go far above and beyond what we're talking about today. So let's look at what wisdom could be defined as, and kind of how I think of wisdom is taking your knowledge, however you obtain this knowledge. It might have been reading, it might have been by observation, you may have learned from others, it could be a combination of all these things and more beyond that. But taking this accumulated knowledge and putting it to practical use in a way that not only benefits yourself, but others. So this is kind of how I think of wisdom. So let's look at Beaver now, our relative who teaches us about wisdom, and see how they demonstrate this to us. So Beaver is a keystone species, and this is important to understand because keystone species play an integral role of great importance in the natural world and maintaining its balance. So they're a keystone species, as is salmon, for another example. So Beaver came here, birthed, with these big, massive teeth, the equivalent of, an axe for us, that they use to chop down all of the trees they need to build their home or the beaver dam. And not only, were they gifted with these teeth, but, they're absolute engineering geniuses in, building and in the manipulation of water. So absolutely just phenomenal. And once the human race figured out that they could learn from our relatives, they reintroduced beaver several decades ago and are learning about these engineering marvels that our beaver relatives create. So initially it looks like, well, this is just all destructive. They're chopping down all the trees, they're damming up the water, it goes on and on and on. But let's take a look at what really happened here, because this is important to understand. So beaver cut down the trees, they built their home, the beaver dam, and from there what happened is a beaver pond was formed. And so this created another waterway that previously didn't exist, which benefits the land, it benefits the trees, it benefits the plants, it benefits the wildlife, it benefits trout and salmon, and it benefits any number of bird species, with trumpeter swans and Canada geese being 2 species that are highly reliant upon beaver ponds for their nesting sites. So that's the first thing. By damming up the water, not only did they create a beaver pond, but groundwater levels rise, which provides more water in the dry season. So obviously this is also a good thing. Now, in chopping down the trees, while that seems to be destructive, what they've done in a natural way is opened the canopy, allowing more sunlight to hit the forest floor, which in turn facilitates the growth of any number of shrubs, other plants, grasses, flowers, you name it, to actually grow and flourish, which increases the amount of variable habitat that the wildlife can use. So they're creating new plant life, new diversity in this ecosystem, which is going to benefit any number of beings that wasn't present before. Now, it's been shown, interestingly enough, that the numbers of salmon, and salmon are another keystone species, and we know that Bear, our relative, who teaches us about bravery, is heavily reliant upon salmon to build up the fat stores they need to survive hibernation. So it's been scientifically proven that in the presence of beaver dams, salmon numbers increase by up to 90%. So you can kind of see, I hope, how everything is so intricately connected here. So we have beaver using their innate gifts, the gifts they were born with, and their knowledge and their engineering genius to create a habitat where others are able to flourish, including other keystone species, which enable, our bears to survive hibernation. So everything is connected, and we need to understand this more than anything else. There isn't anything that stands alone. And so what we need to be doing as a human race is discovering our innate gifts, those things we came here with, that the Great Spirit gave us, that we were birthed into this world with. And if we don't know what they are, because we're so wrapped up in this modern world, then we need to take a trip within, as taught by Bear, and get honest with ourselves, as taught by Raven, and figure out who this person is, and then have the courage and the bravery to be true to ourselves and live that out loud. All of this, who we really are, using our innate gifts, not just for the betterment of ourselves, but the betterment of everybody. And so this is wisdom, as taught by our relative Beaver, who has so much more medicine to share with you, and I hope you really do research and learn about this phenomenal being. I thank you for joining me today on the channel where lightning is bound to strike. Until we come together again, please be well.